How's it going, everybody? Welcome back again into my single player dock area in, of course, the single player world, naturally. So, today, I've got some very important things to discuss and very important things to do, complete, think about, and yeah, we've just got important stuff. This is an important episode. First of all, we are going to get to what happened in the last episode, why it was so crazy. In fact, if you guys haven't seen the last episode, I got wrecked, and the important part is I have fixed and solved our problem, and I'll love to discuss a bit more of my thoughts on the whole pillager thing. The other thing is, of course, we've got a lot of big things to do in the area, and I want to get this whole place over here from there to there, the front, all of this done and ready for us to move on to the next layer, because I think we've got some good little jewels around the place, you know, these sorts of things here, just to look a little bit interesting. We get a nice base place over here, and then of course we can work off of it, build a ship in the future, and all the big stuff, but that's future me. Right now, I think we're going to go ahead and start on this area over here. But I need to show you what I've been doing, because I've been up to some pretty good work. Something that I've left off for quite a while, and that's really just because I was getting a bit lazy with it, because it's quite a pain in the butt to do. Can I get up on this thing? Yeah, there's a smart move. Right there. Okay, actually that's way further away. How's that for a pillar up? All right, so what I was saying is I've gone ahead and got all of this area here filled in. From there, around that edge, until there. And I'll tell you, it was bugging me to see a big empty void underneath here. But now that this is all covered in, it means that we can go ahead and not be embarrassed about this area. I think I've got a very good solution to solve a big part of this wall over here. And that is, I want to get a warehouse probably in there, another one in there, kind of like what we've got on those. And I think we could do that pretty quickly. And overall, this area should just improve dramatically. All right, we're going to kick it off from around about here. We need to work out where our center of this place is, just so that we don't go too far over one direction and then having a little door here with the big door over there. So I think we would let's use the block next to the cobblestone block as a center block. That's good. And also, oh no, the one ender pearl. I was just about to say, also my last ender pearl. I don't think we're going to need it, but yeah, it turns out we need another one. So we'll use this as our current center. We'll put in the cyan clay, which is from when I was busy doing this stuff, which of course we have to get to. So what I'm thinking about, because I've stared at this a little bit before, of course, we're getting in here. Can I just step back without falling off? What I'm thinking of is we need this to be pretty large. Of course, I think our normal doors will go in well here, but we've got a few problems. First of all, we need to push this back a bit. And then of course we've got the windmill on top of it, which I don't like the idea of the farm windmill coming too much into the docks, but there is one thing that I am happy with, and that is that it does look a little bit steampunky from as far as this game could. I think, of course, using that term quite loosely, but I think it would look sort of like a steampunk kind of build with the smoke coming out there, the windmill over there. I think that could sell it, but we'll see. If need be, I think I've got a plan for how we can eventually try and hide it, or at least minimize its intrusion in here. I definitely want to put more trees in, but that's not current me. Again, current me's got it pretty easy, actually. I've been saying that too often. I'm like, current me doesn't have to worry about that. And then, yeah, of course, current me's gonna have, later me's gonna have a huge list. Oh, that is actually dark oak. Dang it. I was trying to frame this really nicely. So we can see how well I remember these doors. They're very useful, actually, I've found, just in general in worlds. So if ever you've got a blank area that you really, really need to cover up, this door actually could save your build. So let's go up here, just cover that up. I like this little gap between that. We're going to go ahead and see if I can speed build this, or half of it, while we've still got this in the way. All right, that's all been removed, and I think it's time we can try and speed build it real quick. So what I've been thinking about, because I've been thinking about what I want to build with and the blocks I want to use a lot more often, and I've got an idea, but I don't know how it's going to turn out, and I need some advice on this, and it's to do with a farm that I want to build, which is not a very normal farm. It's a farm that I will be farming mushroom stem blocks. So those beautiful white blocks that you always see coming up through a mushroom. It's pretty simple. I just want a bunch of those blocks so that I'm able to build as many cool things as I can with them. Actually, that's too low. I'm hitting my head, am I not? No, almost. So that's my goal. I want to build a farm that allows us to get a stupid amount of those blocks which I think is not as easy as it might sound. And the reason for that is, I remember years and years ago, I was watching Etho build one for just brown mushrooms, and he carried on for ages on that thing, and he just never managed to finish it, I don't think. But I think we could. I think we could do something that could at least make it a little bit more efficient for me to get a few more blocks, rather than, of course, just going around and destroying a whole bunch of dark oak forests, which is not very viable, to say the least. So I think that will be a goal for a weird farm that we'll have. And I've also thought a little bit about having the farm nearby, and I don't like the idea of having the farm on our whole island. And if you don't know our island, I think in the last world tour, I went through and I showed a map of this island, and or I think even a top-down view of the whole island. And I think the idea of this, at least for me now in this world, is to have the whole island be just builds. Of course, a base on it, but pretty much just builds. And the reason for that is, once we finish this, imagine how cool it is just to say, like, this is what we built, this is the whole world we can go and explore, and then we can have our own Minecraft type stuff out to the side, and we can hide it a little bit further away. Kind of gives you that illusion, I suppose, but you know, that's about it. So the one problem we have with this is, of course, we don't have a proper door, but there we go. Speed build of the door. Very quick, and of course I say this is a nice and easy door. I've got the right blocks for it, but we need to have just a few blocks to go over the top, and it'll smooth it out so good, and it'll look real nice. So I think I do... Ooh, I'm gonna commit to this. All right, I know I either strip those ones, or I strip those ones, and I get the feeling it's these. Let's see. I hope I'm right. Please tell me I'm right. Dang it, I'm wrong. Okay, we'll fix them up, but it's not a big deal. But that's our first one done. I want to put another one in here, and I think that will just fill that area up. So it's a blank wall, got nothing going on. Now it's got something going on. I think it's an improvement, and if we don't want it there, it's so simple to take down. It doesn't feel bad destroying this build, is what I'm saying. And here we have our 2 doors completely done. Nice and easy. Very quick job, actually. Now, our next job is I want to start filling up from there up to here. I know, like, one thing is the ground looks terrible, and that's gonna kind of be solved now before we actually touch the ground. And the reason for that is I want to be placing a whole bunch of random junk that you'd find in a dock. For instance, you can see that these are coming off, so maybe there's a whole pile of those just taking up a huge area. We've got a whole bunch of crates coming off of a ship. You got to remember, this is actually a ship that's over here. You just don't see it yet. It's blocks for future me. You see, we put this on that list of future me, and future me's got a pretty big job ahead of him. So that's where that's going to be. And I want to actually try this ship eventually, just a little bit different to our other ships, and I'm not too sure how it's going to turn out. And I'm thinking maybe more of a barge type of thing, but I need to work that one out, because that's like big, really big. All right, so while we're doing this, I did say I would discuss our last episode shenanigans and what happened and what I think about that, because what happened, if you haven't seen the last episode, quick rundown. I was destroyed by pillagers. I managed to actually make it out, which was pretty cool. So I didn't actually get deleted by pillagers, let's say, but I did have some troubles with the fact that, of course, in this area, pillagers just spawn. No real apparent way of how they spawn. They just appear out of nowhere and destroy everything. And the way I combat that is by just running away. And of course, this has been ever since Minecraft 1.14 has come out. Pillagers have been around, and I don't mind the idea of pillagers. I'll be completely honest. I think they're pretty cool. I really do. Despite the fact that I don't like fighting them, because I'm not very much into the PvP or PvE thing, I still think they're pretty darn cool. Now, my problem I have with them... Dang it, I should not have done that. That's good. Okay. The problem that I have with pillagers, though, is that they just appear out of nowhere and destroy your fun. And I know it's not everyone that would feel this way, but I'm sure maybe someone in the comments is going to agree with me. But what I find with pillagers is I'm more than happy to fight any mob. Like any mob in this game, I'm more than willing to fight it when I feel like fighting it. And I'll go out to fight it and hopefully get some cool loot. That's what I like about it. But pillagers... You can't stop them with light, you can't stop them, as far as I'm aware, with anything else. They just kind of appear. And I don't like that idea, specifically being a person building in Minecraft. Fancy that. You know, that apparently it's a building game. Oh, wait, why am I doing that? I'm lost. These are ladders. That's where ladders go. So we look like we've strapped this up. There we go. So yeah, pretty much just building. I find that a lot of the time I get a bit sick of those mobs. I do get sick of sometimes skeletons and creepers and zombies and all that stuff, but that's just there to remind me, hey, Jansey, you know, you're going to put torches here and now you messed up, so you're going to have to rebuild your build. Like, that's fun. I know I say that getting attacked by a creeper is fun, but it makes the game a little bit more interesting, and I don't mind that, but I think pillagers, just in general, spawning in your base and destroying everything, it's just not a lot of fun. That's basically what I'm saying, and I think it's a flaw, personally. I don't think it adds anything to the game. Now, as far as a pillager outpost goes, I am so totally down for those. I think a pillager outpost is one of the coolest things that probably came with 1.14. A brand new structure, you find it, you see it. I don't know what kind of loot's in it. I've only found one in this world, and I didn't have the equipment to go and deal with it because I was trying to find berries, if I remember correctly. I did get the berries. But I wouldn't mind looking inside of one, and I like the challenge of going out and finding one and doing stuff with it, and I'm planning on doing that. Now, of course, that's a big roundabout way of saying that I don't dislike pillagers. I just dislike them appearing out of nowhere. Is my big deal. So what I've done and what my solution was, because of course I did ask about it in my Discord server, and I was told that there is a vanilla tweaks data pack that kind of solves our problem. And what it allows you to do is turn off villager rage or pillager rage. I hope I haven't been saying villager this whole time. Let's actually just put a few around here just to mask the fact that this is in fact not very nice. Yeah, so basically what it allows you to do is turn off the raids, which is what's happening there, where they're spawning and coming around, but it doesn't turn off the base pillagers, which are the ones I like. So overall story, success. You know, we've got ourselves all of the pillagers that we don't like gone, kept the pillagers we do like, and the game is good again. And I love it. I just wish that was the way it was to begin with. I'm sure maybe like a pillager raid function would be cool for maybe like, I don't know, I never really played many kind of servers. Oh, man, it actually freaked me out with that no block made a noise. I haven't played many servers where you'd have to defend a base or something, but if you could have those spawning regularly and you built like a little place to defend, that'd be pretty cool, but I just don't think they suit this area. Look at that. Wow, okay. Pillagers out the way. This is what we're talking about now. That is looking like it's got a big facelift, I'll be honest. That's very, very cool. This whole area just being filled up like that, I actually did not expect it to go that well. A lot of the time when you do this stuff, all the straight lines and all these boxes look a little bit too messy, but it actually does not look bad at all. Looks like the sun's going down, so we'll catch a bit of rest there. While we're catching a good night's rest, the other thing is, I don't want to be negative, because I don't like that, but in general, I think that pillagers were wrong, and I think we fixed him, in my opinion. So tell me what you guys think about that. If I'm the only one that feels this way about them, it feels a bit derpy, you know, a lot of the time when you're fighting them as well. So that's pretty much my deal with them. Now, while we're here, this is what I actually want to do, because I was thinking about it and I've got the materials, so I got to do it. Let's put in one of these cool carts, the nice, easy Jansey cart. And I love these things. They're so good. Basically, super simple, make your world look really interesting. Don't place the blocks in the wrong direction or wrong position, or else you're going to look like me and feel like a fool. But there we go. We've done it incorrectly. So here we go. Get that little bit in there, and then we put in, if I am correct, I've taken the wrong blocks here, but we can work with these. Take those, and we also can put on one there, and there, here. Got ourselves a super simple cart. We can make it look way better than super simple by just going boop like that, and we do, use the right arrow keys, please. There we go. I know I said arrow keys, and I'm surely gonna have someone saying, you use arrow keys? No, I don't. I just said them. Don't know why. I just did it. So here we go. This is what I wanted to do. Put the barrels on here, like that, there, and maybe another one on top, like that, and we kind of finish it off. I guess we'll just do with these like that and that. Got a nice super easy cart. I want to put a few more of these around. That's a nice and easy cart. I think it works a little bit better on the ground in the farm area where it's a bit more broken up. And now the next stage of this build is the ground, of course, and that is just going to be me texturing it and all that stuff, so it's not a big deal. All right, so it's time for us to go ahead and get into the ground of this, the actual little path. And you know, I gotta say, because I never get this opportunity very often to plug another video, because you know what? I'm gonna do it anyway. We recently have made our own tutorial video on paths, and it was something that I was asked about for quite a while, and I always said I'll do it, and I just never thought of how I could, well, I thought about it, but it was always like, how do I do it? What is a good thing? Am I saying anything relevant? I don't know, but I made the tutorial, and I think it's as good as I could get to kind of explain how I think of paths and what I think people can do to make their paths from like a basic path just a little bit more interesting. So if you guys are curious about that, of course, definitely check that out, because I think it can help you. And I know a lot of people tend to know a lot of things, but just don't do them. And I think it's one of those, you know, as with most things around here. So my thought is here, just before I confuse everyone too far with these paths that we're doing here, and maybe give a little bit of explanation. This would be the area that would be most traveled. If you think about it, something's being pushed down here, maybe a cart's rolling down here from the warehouse, down that way. This is going to be the most worn down area. So I think if we can put a few path blocks in here and just get them to look a little bit more interesting, like this, you know, see, if we just do something like that, make them a little bit more around the place, we could get this to look like that is where you should be walking, so that when, for instance, me on a world tour is walking down here, I'll obviously know where I'm going, but my whole, well, direction will be altered by the fact that the path goes in this direction like that. You know, it doesn't have anything that's making us a little bit lost. And besides that, I can't actually think of another block that would be quite relevant to put in here. I'm going to take that off my offhand because I'm going to keep doing that. Yeah, something like that. Just make it look like that, and maybe something in here. So now once we've got these, they look a little bit too light, and I've done a few changes. Is that a full block? It is. So what we're going to do is we're going to make this a little bit darker by putting in whole blocks in there. And of course, another one in there maybe. And corner, corner. Yeah, the dark is definitely the way to go, because if we keep it all super light path, it just looks a bit silly. You know, maybe we could do a few other blocks in there. For instance, we could put in some dirt. That could work. And if I really think this doesn't work, I can eventually change it, but I think this path will do quite a good job. Look, I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of this path, but maybe when we keep it going and eventually move a few things around, change some things up, it'll improve. But we'll focus on that a bit later. Of all the episodes for me to say, hey, I do paths, you look at that and you're like, hey, no thank you, we'll put that to the side. Trust me, I'm better than that. But don't worry about it. Okay, so for now, what I do want to worry about is the next phase. So we've got, remember what I said from the beginning, we want to get this whole area from there to there looking fairly complete and ready for us to move on to the back area over there. And that requires a few more things. And one thing is this little piece over here. You can see we've got the windmill over there, and we've got this ledge, and I don't mind these being built into the ledge. I think it kind of gives it a little bit more character, you know, because normally when you build something, you clear the land, build it, and I don't know, it feels like it's just missing something, and that makes it feel a little bit more homely. But what I do want to do is I want to fix up this edge, and I'll let you guys in on a little secret that no builders want you to know, because you're going to look at everyone's build and you're going to say, hey, that guy who I thought was a good builder was just very sneaky using this super sneaky block. And I'm doing it to myself, I'll tell you that much. The leaf block. It's you're going to see all my builds and you say, this guy, what the heck has he been doing this whole time? And it is. The leaf block solves everything. Every building you've ever had. If you whatever mistake, just put a leaf block there. Bam. Look at this corner. Boring corner. Just trust me. You gotta wait for it. Bam. Leaf blocks. Solved that corner problem. They really are just that good, because they're a block that, like, this is the reason at least. This is what I think, alright? They're a block that doesn't really mean anything, but it adds a little bit of color, and it just exists, you know? You don't look at it, you just shoot your eyes across it. It doesn't really exist. And, I mean, hey, I am definitely a fan of leaves. I've used my fair share, and I will tell you this much. They are your best friends. So leaves, if you ever have a problem, they're going to save your build. So let's just put them on the edge here and see if I am talking absolute rubbish or if I have got something going on here. And I've also got a few other colors of leaves, so don't fear. If oak is a bit too much, we can always change it down. But I think if we could just do a little bit of an edge to this edge, I think it could save it. So maybe something a bit around there. We've got a few more just around there. Oh, hey, buddy. I just need to check these guys. I don't know why. I've got no emeralds to ever buy anything from these guys, but on our way back, I'll just do a little bit of a stop to see what this guy's selling. That must be the worst traits I've ever seen from one of these guys. doesn't even have like a rare block. I guess lily pads are they're actually a finite resource in the world until these guys, so I suppose maybe the lily pads. But besides that, that one was one of the worst traders. Now here, look at that. Oh, already, look at it. Just perfectly molds in there. You won't notice the difference. You see what I mean? If say you're looking at this, right? You're like, oh, what a wonderful building. Look at that chimney. That looks pretty cool. The cranes look pretty cool. No one's saying anything about the leaves, and they are definitely what is going to save that little piece there. Can I drop down into the water? Oh, almost made it. So right around there. Yeah, that is exactly what we need. So if we can put these leaves coming over here, I think that'll solve it. And then, of course, I want to do a bit of a tree over here, just a little one. I've got some materials in case we want to do an extra large tree like those, but I want to do a little one. And the thing with the little trees, it'll block out that whole area there, so you won't notice too much of the windmill house. And I think that could be our solution to this area, at least that piece over there. Oh man, moving through all this junk is actually kind of funny because it's not as easy as it was a few minutes ago. I've moved through, I didn't realize how many times I've moved through this area, but it just feels odd having stuff here now. But look at that little kind of hair. It looks like a hairstyle, you know, like a teenager with like a mop kind of haircut. Like what I was when I was young. There we go. Just kind of flowing off the edges there. Beautiful. That's actually going to work really well. I'm kind of curious because I've also put a tree up there. Look at that, the lonely little tree there. I'm kind of curious what the view is from the house because I don't want it to be too much, but I did mention, imagine being the windmill operator coming up in the morning, getting your cup of coffee, walking up to this window, just give me a second, getting up your scaffolding and taking a good look at the harbor. That is perfect. You actually can't see much. This guy would be so upset getting his view blocked. You know, where I'm from, a view of a harbor is going to cost some big bucks, and I don't know if this windmill operator's making the big bucks to get the harbor view, but that actually is really cool. Oops. Can I get up on that roof? I want to, please. Can I please get up on that roof? There we go. That was all that I needed. There we go. So let's get a little bit of a angle change. Tell me I get that. Perfect. Because my next thing that I need to think about, this is actually a really cool angle. But my next thing that I need to think about is this area over here. And I've done a bit of thinking about it. And we're going to do something which is going to be a little bit weird. But hear me out. It's going to work. And what I want to do is I want to make this wall just a wall that belongs to this area. So we'll make it an actual like pre-built wall. So not just a mountain face, an actual wall. If I say it again, I probably said wall more times this video than any other video. But what I want to do is I want to put a little tower on the edge so that there's an easy transition from there to there. And this tower could either be a watchtower, may even be relevant to be a lighthouse, to be honest. If we had just a lighthouse sticking out there, that could be quite relevant. You see one over here, you see that little one sticking through there? That could work pretty good. And I've got another thought because I've seen this suggestion a few times and I've thought about this, and that is to have a ship that's being built. And I've done that in 2 worlds, and I want to do something a little bit different here. And I was thinking, I've always seen these boats, for instance, lifeboats that hang off the sides of ships and stuff. And I think it would be real cool to just have one hanging off the side of the wall there, as if some fisherman's just lifted his little boat, kind of a little bit bigger than that boat, of course, but just kind of lifted them up out of the water. Maybe we could have 1, 2 of them over there. I think that would look really cool. But that's another thing for guess who to do? Future me. Right here, of course. But of course, future me has also got to make the next episode. So this will be the current episode, and I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I hope you've at least learned something, and I've got a bit of work to do. So thank you very much for joining me here today, and I'll see you in the next one.